Hey, good afternoon. This is Cigar Topics number 2. Why is my cigar burning unevenly and how do I fix this? This is something that is really common, especially if you're smoking cheaper cigars, but even with good cigars. So I'll go over why is this happening and then what can we do to fix it. The number one reason that cigars that are quality burn unevenly is because you messed up lighting it. Right? If I came in with a lighter and just torched one side of it, of course, the side that I overlit, it's going to burn faster. And because this is just a complete circle of tobacco, you're never going to catch up, right? It is just going to burn unevenly. So the proper way to light it is going to be in another video I make, but essentially we're going to come up, toast around the edge here, and then slowly light the end as we rotate. So the whole thing is lit evenly. We avoid these big black streaks on the side, and then I like to blow on the end and make sure that it's evenly lit. That's going to fix a lot of your problems, right? Lighting it correctly. Another reason, and you see this in a good number of my videos, there were some videos I made where I was smoking on the beach in the Dominican Republic, and a lot of them burned unevenly. But I lit them correctly. So the reason that they were burning unevenly is wind. So think about it. When you are drawing on a cigar, you're forcing air through it, or you're pulling air through it, which makes it burn. If I've got a 10-mile-an-hour wind coming from this direction, this side of the cigar is getting way more oxygen, and it's going to catch the edge and eventually just burn. So what I like to do when I'm smoking in the wind is rotate the cigar pretty consistently, almost continuously as I'm smoking. And especially if I get an edge that has been burning heavily on one side, I'm going to rotate it. I might even kind of put my hand near the end, and that's going to cause a lot of those wind burn issues to be fixed. So another common reason is just lack of fermentation. This is something where it's not your fault. It's not the environment's fault. It's the cigar manufacturer's fault. Thicker tobacco leaves that are not properly fermented, they get that kind of cigar resin in there, that tobacco resin, and they just don't burn evenly. That's something that you can kind of touch up with a lighter, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Another reason is improper farming techniques. What cigar manufacturers sometimes do, and growers do, is to get the tobacco to grow faster and make more money faster, they will use liquid nitrogen in their soil, right? Think of it as like, tobacco leaf steroid. And that is going to make the leaves grow much faster, but it destroys a lot of the cellular structure of the leaf, and it doesn't burn evenly. That's just what happens. You also see this problem in fields that have a lack of nitrogen. So think Cuba. So what happened in Cuba is this. They had a booming cigar industry. They made great cigars. Then the communists took over and they decided we're going to plant more tobacco and make more cigars, more profit. If you remember from like freshman biology class, when you are planting crops, you have to rotate your fields and let the nitrogen kind of recuperate. It's called crop rotation. People in Cuba were not doing this because they wanted to make more money. So they burned all the nitrogen out of the fields. The tobacco leaves don't get the nutrients that they need, and they burn unevenly. This is honestly still a problem with Cuban cigars. They have not completely fixed this. It's hard to fix these, even though these supplement the fuels with nitrogen, hard to overcome. Not a lot you can do about that, but that is the academic kind of reason behind it. Another reason is poor construction. When you roll a cigar, you want it to almost look like funnels of tobacco leaf, right? This is properly rolled. It would look like if you had flowers and flower petals and then you got them and rolled them. What cheaper cigar companies do that don't have as experienced cigar rollers is they'll get the tobacco leaves, put them one on top of each other. It almost looks like pages in a book. It's commonly actually called booking. And so if it essentially just gets those leaves, compacts them together, and of course because you don't have airflow going through it, it just doesn't burn evenly. You can really tell on that when one side just seems like it's just not burning at all, even if you lit it correctly, there's no wind. That's what's happening, right? Generally. And the way to fix that is actually to get a surface and kind of press the cigar on it, the side that's booking more, that's not burning. Press that on it. Not super hard, right? We're not breaking the cigar. But what you're doing is pushing those leaves, hopefully letting some oxygen into it, and fixing the problem. And on that's another time I would just use the torch, right? So poor construction. So what can you do to fix some of these issues? Well, you can obviously do what I talked about, right? Pressing down. Another trick is if you have one side that's burning fast and one side that's burning slow, wet your thumb and just put it on that cigar or on that side of that cigar. And that wetness is going to slow that burn a little bit on the side that's burning faster. And that can actually solve a good number of your problems. Again, we're not licking it. We're not putting tons on it. We're slowing it down a little bit. And you know what? There are some cigars that they're just going to burn unevenly. You can touch it up with the torch all day long. It's not going to matter. And when we are touching a cigar up with a torch, we dear God, we're not putting it right here, right? We're not putting it here, here, here. We're here, right? We're correcting a burn. We are not grilling a steak, right? My goal is not to cook this cigar. We're just giving it some additional heat. And think about it, when we light a cigar, we don't put it right here because it would just burn it. We put it here and we end up solving the problem. Another problem is your cigar is too wet. I think it probably goes without saying, but if I had a campfire and I poured water on it, it would go out. Water, fire don't mix super well. So if your humidor is at 80% or it's just way too humid, those leaves are going to have all that moisture and it's not going to burn well. And inevitably, some of it's going to be drier, some of it's going to be more humid, and it's not going to burn well. So that's it, guys. That's how we would fix it. Light it properly, apply that technique if it's booking on one side, and then you can touch up with the lighter. Another technique is this, is if I have a cigar that is burning hotter on one side, I can get the side that's burning hotter, let's say it's this side, and when I put it in the ashtray, I put that down into the ashtray. More wind, in theory, is going to go across the top, burn that side a little faster, and the side on the bottom is not going to get nearly as much oxygen, and it's going to burn slower. Aside from that, we can touch it up with a lighter. So that's it, guys. Cigar Topics number 2. Why is my cigar burning poorly? And what can I do to fix it? I hope this has helped someone. It should make your cigar smoking experience more enjoyable, because when I have people over that don't know what they're doing, even with good cigars, they are burning improperly. The other way to avoid this is buy better cigars, right? If I have a really nice, like Perdomos do burn really well. The Romeos do burn really well. So if I get that and I light it properly, I'm probably not going to have these problems because they're farmed correctly, they're rolled correctly, and then you just need to store them correctly. If this has helped you again, please let me know. And as always, thank you for watching.